Welcome to Career Journeys, a series of videos by the Consortium for Public Education. Here we explore the career experiences and pathways of professionals from a wide variety of careers to help you think about the skills you'll need and the paths you might take after high school.
Hi, I'm Debbie Pixton with the Consortium for Public Education. Today I'm interviewing John Borsch, a distributions manager at Giant Eagle. Thank you so much for joining us, John.
Thank you for having me.
John, tell me about your role at Giant Eagle. What do you do as a distributions manager?
All right, so I manage our dry facility, which is in charge of all the non-perishable, edible, and non-edible items that go out to our grocery stores. I manage a 440,000 square foot warehouse facility that is employed with 197 warehouse workers, along with about 42 non-union support and supervisor team members.
So how did you end up as a distributions manager? Can you tell us a little bit about your career path from high school?
Yeah, absolutely. So after high school, I was taking classes at the University of Akron. While I was in school there, I started off as a warehouse selector at a food distribution company right outside of Cleveland, working the afternoon shift, selecting in a freezer that was about -10 degrees, filling orders for, schools and hospitals and pizza shops and things like that. While I was there, kind of took a liking to the job. It was very demanding, a lot of long hours, but, you met a lot of cool people and got to learn a lot of things, from an inbound, outbound logistics type, atmosphere. And I thought, while I want to continue on through school, if I stay here, food distribution is always going to be around. And I thought, I could continue to grow within this company if given the right opportunity. So after a couple years, as an order selector, I was given the opportunity to be a new hire trainer, or actually anyone that was hired on as a selector. For the first 2 weeks, they would be with me, and I'd teach them, how to operate the equipment, how to fill the orders properly, how to build stable pallets, obviously how to be safe throughout the warehouse, make sure you're not getting injured, you're properly lifting. Did that for a while. And then, once I kind of got my feet wet and kind of proved myself, I was given the opportunity to be a warehouse supervisor on the afternoon shift. Eventually moved over to transportation as a supervisor there. There I got to learn a lot about the DOT regulations and more of the logistics side of everything. Did that for about 4 or 5 years, and then decided to, while the company I was with, I could continue to grow. That company, though, actually, in order to continue to grow, you needed to, relocate. I had just gotten married and kind of wanted to stay in the area. My wife and I wanted to have a child. So I said, let me see, I've got a little bit of experience under my belt now. That's when I was offered a warehouse manager's position for a fast food chain distribution company. Was there for a while, helped negotiate a union contract, and really got to work side by side with the union. That was my first opportunity being, managing in a union environment, which, definitely has its differences compared to a non-union environment. From there, actually was contacted by a headhunter for Giant Eagle. They were looking for a supervisor. Take it one step further, my wife and I wanted to get back to the actual original area, which is the Pittsburgh area. We had just had our first child, and so we moved home. And I said, okay, I know Giant Eagle is a good company. Don't know a lot about their distribution centers, but gave it a shot. And I was down at their HBC facility, which is in Washington. Started off there as an afternoon supervisor. Worked there until I was moved to the daylight shift, and then was given the opportunity to be the daylight shift manager there. After about 1.5 years of being the daylight manager, really focusing in on the inbound piece, everything that goes along with that, making sure that all of our products getting received properly, put away, the code dating, all of that stuff, really get that underneath my belt. Our vice president decided that, hey, he wanted to give me a shot and move me to a bigger facility, excuse me, which was OK Grocery in Crafton. There came over, it was a lateral move, but I moved to the daylight manager shift here, which was a lot bigger, a lot more team members to manage. And we had our current operations manager at that time decided he was going to move to a different state to be closer to his family. At that point, I let my VP know, say, hey, look, I'm definitely going to throw my hat in the ring. I definitely, if given the opportunity, I think I can be successful at being able to manage, an entire building. And lo and behold, here we are. While when you start off, there's going to be times where, hey, look, am I going to be stuck here, or, what can I do in order to better myself? And the biggest thing is anything that came my way or any opportunity, I made sure I raised my hand and people knew that I was available. There's going to be times where, when you go down that route and you become someone that a management team can lean on, you're going to have to be able to absorb more than some of the other, your fellow workers. But, in the long run, as long as you continue to grow, it's definitely worth it. Definitely worth it.
So, John, what do you enjoy about what you're doing now?
So I think the biggest thing is problem solving. In the world that we live in now with your Amazons and your Walmarts, they're always looking at continuous improvement. Giant Eagle, while we have a large footprint, in the Pittsburgh and Northeast Ohio region, we're definitely not as big as an Amazon. So trying to keep up and trying to learn new ways to do things more efficient, and not being afraid of change. You've always got to try something. I can tell you, along my way, I've done, made a lot of, choices to try to better, and some have worked and some have backfired. But you can't be afraid of that. But also working with the people. We've got almost 300 team members here in this facility, and getting to work side by side with them, helping them along their way, is definitely rewarding. And that, I think that's probably the biggest thing that I enjoy there.
What are some skills that make you good at your job as a distributions manager?
I'm good at talking and relating to people. I really enjoy it. I've always been one, because I have come up, starting off as a warehouse selector and kind of working my way through. I have that, I guess, that leverage, because I know what everyone's going through. I've been in their shoes. So being able to relate with them and help them solve problems or challenges that they may face daily. My biggest thing is I treat everyone as a person. They're not just an employee who has to hit a certain number. And in this, in this environment, you're looking at it and you're constantly trying to, improve cases per hour and, reduce overtime and all those types of challenges, that you face daily. But you have to know that people have a backstory. They've got a life outside of work, and, people aren't machines, and treat them accordingly. And, and I know when you do that, you get their respect, and you're going to get more out of people.
So what has surprised you about the world of distribution and logistics that maybe you wouldn't have expected as a high school student, for example?
Very, very fast paced. That is one thing, to where there's never a dull moment. And, one thing to a high school student, when you're in this type of environment, it can be at times a little bit overwhelming. But just, knowing that you take the proper steps, you can get past that, and always looking for a new way to do things and being able to problem solve on the fly. Switching gears is a very nice phrase that we use here, because you'll be focused on one thing and then something else needs attention over here. So being able to switch gears and manage that properly is definitely one thing that I didn't realize coming into this, that it was, you had to do it so quickly.
So if I'm a student in high school, what questions should I ask myself to know if a career in distribution and logistics would be a good fit for me?
Are you able to put in the work? There's going to be a lot of long hours, a lot of hard labor, but if you get to that point, it can be worth it. So if you're willing to put into work and do the time, you can be successful here.
So what's one piece of advice you would offer to students who are interested in pursuing a career in distribution and logistics?
Never be afraid of change. There's always a better way to do things, and don't get frustrated. And I tell everyone, whether it's someone in the management field or coming in as a warehouse selector, you've got to do three things to be successful. You've got to come to work, you've got to be safe, and you've got to be efficient.
John, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and experiences with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
For more information or to learn about other careers in the Career Journey series, visit our website and check back soon for our next installment. Thanks!